Hello, happy people. Welcome to this tutorial on using Zoom for online teaching. Whether you're a seasoned educator or new to virtual classrooms, this guide will help you make the most out of Zoom features to create an engaging learning experience. We're going to take each Zoom feature and we're going to have a look at how you can use it. So right now on the screen, you can see I have the menu bar at the bottom, and we're going to take each item on the menu bar one by one, and I'm going to walk you through it. Now, Zoom has undergone in the last year some cosmetic changes. So the Zoom that we're currently using now might look a little bit different from the Zoom that you were used to. It's mostly just cosmetic, the functionality is the same, but when you're teaching online, you want to know where everything is. So I do recommend that you spend some time going through these. At the very bottom over here, we have the audio. So if you click here, you'll have a drop-down menu where you can choose the microphone, the speakers, depending on what you have installed on your computer. You can also do tests to make sure that both your speakers and your microphone are working fine. Then you have the video option, again the same drop-down menu. You can choose which camera you want to be using. At the moment I'm using a webcam, but I can also use my own, my computer's front camera. And it's pretty simple here. So now you can see me here. And if I want to turn my camera off, I can just click on this again. Next up, we have the participants. If you click on this, on the side of your screen, you will see the participants list. At the moment, it's just me in the meeting room, and you have some options here which might be useful to keep in mind. So you can mute a given participant. You can then unmute. And also you have a couple of other features like renaming the participant. So I can change my name to just this, change it, and you can do this for your participants as well, or you can ask them to rename themselves. Once there are more people in the room, in the meeting room, you will have other options as well, especially if you are a host or a co-host. You can put people in the meeting room, in the waiting room. You can mute everybody at the same time rather than individually. Next up, we have the chat. The chat functionality is pretty straightforward. You can just type a message here, and you can see here in the blue box that it's going to go up to everyone. So hello, and everyone can see it. You can then reply to leave a reaction. You can copy, you can quote, you can edit, or you can delete if you've accidentally sent the message to the wrong person. Because you can send it to everyone in meeting, or you can also send it to a specific person if that option is activated from your settings. Now, very importantly, for the chat box, we have here a couple of things, but the most important thing is actually the file. So you can send files to your students in the chat box, and you can choose a file from your computer, and it'll just take you to, so for example, here I have some Module 1 paper. Send it like this. Okay. And it's sent to, and if the students click on it, then they can download it onto their computers. One thing to keep in mind: in order for the transfer to go through, the document must be closed on your computer. So you can't send a document that's already been opened. So you have to close. It's a little, I'm just going to open that, and it will open on my screen, for example. Yeah, good. And that's basically what you're going to be using the chat for. Then you have the reactions. The most common one is the raise hand, and then you have lower hand as well. One interesting thing to notice, if that you raise hand and you want to ask a question, for example, you can see it in the participants list. So if you have more than one person in the group, you have a group of 5, 10, 15, you know who has their hands raised, and then you can lower hand from here. Next up, let's talk about sharing. Now, this is one of the key and most important features, is your ability to share your screen. So we have the green button over here, and you can share. So once it's open, this screen will pop up. You can share your entire screen, which I don't recommend because then everybody sees what you're doing on the screen. What you want to do is you want to be sharing a window. So for example, remember that document that I sent you in the chat box? It was a Delta Module 1 presentation. It was a presentation that I prepared. So I can click on that. You see it turns blue, and then share. And everybody can see my screen now. Yeah. Another thing, one important thing to keep in mind when you're sharing your screen is here, so you still have access to all of the options to the menu bar. This will come in handy a little bit later, and I'll show you why. Another thing that you can do, so you can share the screens, you can also share documents. Now, this has changed a little bit from previous versions of Zoom. Now, in this part, the most important thing, you don't want to be dealing with that. That's way too complicated. But I have here the whiteboard, the classic whiteboard, which I like to use. I've gotten used to it. So I can click on that, share, and this is the classic whiteboard. This is the whiteboard menu bar. So if I want to write something, hello, there, it's on there. It takes a little while to get used to it, but once you do, I quite like it. I think it's really fun. If you want to keep the initial whiteboard, you can click on here on this one, there, and now you have a spare whiteboard, and you can go back to the initial one if you wanted to. So it's quite nice. Let's go back to sharing, and one thing you keep in mind is that you can share sound. If you click on that, what happens is the sound that you're playing through your computer. So if you have an audio recording for listening, then the sound is played through your computer, and it's crisp and clear for your students to hear. If you're playing a video clip, you can click on this. One thing to be mindful of with the video clip option, once you do that, everybody else disappears, so you won't be able to see your students anymore. And finally, you have some advanced settings. You can share a portion of the screen. You can share computer audio. What that means is that if you click on this, share, you can play on your computer whatever you like, but the students won't be able to see your screen, so they will just be able to hear the audio. And finally, so a portion of the screen, I'll show you how it looks like. So for example, here, you can just drag and drop, you can enlarge so the students see only this bit. And that's what the students see. In case you're wondering what the students can see, you can actually, so if I put that on the top, you can actually see what the students are seeing. Stop share, and we're back to the menu bar. There are a couple of other things here, host tool, AI companion, that you don't really need to bother with for the basics. Here's the key, the more button. Breakout rooms. Let's talk about breakout rooms. Breakout rooms are fundamental for teaching online because it replaces pair and group work. There are a couple of options. So let's say I want to create 2 breakouts. And you have some options. Assign automatically, that means that Zoom decides who is paired with whom in the breakout rooms. Assign manually, that means that you decide who is paired with whom in the breakout rooms. Let participants choose room. No, you don't want to be doing that unless it's for a very specific activity, but most of the times we don't use it. So let's say that I've got 2 breakout rooms I want to assign manually. That's only me, but what you have is this. You have room 1, room 2. You can rename them if you want to, or you can delete them. And then I have assign. Very importantly, before you click on open all rooms, this is what you have to do. Let's talk about the options. Here is a list of options that you absolutely must have ticked so that your breakout rooms are used effectively. Allow participants to choose room. No, we don't want to do that. Allow participants to return to the main sessions at any time. We don't want to do that either. The reason why is because if you allow participants to return to the main room, then you're going to find yourself in a pickle when it comes to early finishers. Because if early finishers have finished, they return to the main room, there's no one there, they get disengaged. You don't want that. What you do want clicked is everything else. So automatically move all assigned participants into breakout rooms. Yes, this is crucial because it saves you time when it comes to opening the breakout rooms. If you have this unclicked, so if you have it like that, then what happens is that the participants receive a notification saying, do you want to join room, whichever. They don't always see this notification, and it just takes a while for participants to get into their assigned breakout rooms, and that just eats into your lesson time. So you want to have this activated. It just pushes everybody, sends everybody into the breakout rooms. Automatically move all selected participants in breakout rooms to main meeting. This is a fairly new feature, but a very important new feature, because previously when you sent somebody into the breakout rooms, you couldn't call them back unless you closed all of the breakout rooms. This time you can select a person from the breakout rooms and move them into the main room. Why is this important? Sometimes candidates lose connection, or even sometimes candidates can't enter breakout rooms. So if you've paired candidate A with candidate B, so student A with student B, student B is in the breakout room, but student A, for whatever reason, can't access the breakout rooms, then you can just easily plug student B and transfer them into the main room, and you can use the main room as a place for the students to conduct their task. Then breakout rooms, if you want to set a timer for breakout rooms, so let's say if you want to keep people there for 5 minutes, then that will have a timer. Very importantly, the minimum amount of time that students should spend in breakout room is, well, on average is 3 minutes. 2 minutes is cutting it short, because otherwise some people takes about them 30 seconds to act, depending on the internet connection, to go into the breakout rooms. So it's a little bit difficult. So keep them at minimum 3. This one is very important that you have clicked, so notify me when the time is up, because if you make a mistake and with the timer and give the students less time than you wanted, then if you have notify me when the time is up, you can extend the time the breakout rooms stay open. Countdown after closing breakout rooms, keep this at 10-15 seconds. I usually keep it at 10 seconds. Again, the breakout rooms are fantastic and they are extremely helpful for a communicative language lesson. However, it does take time, like physical time that you can't alter, to move from breakout rooms to the main room and vice versa. So by having all of these options clicked, you will minimize that time for a smoother performance. Once all of that is there, you can open the breakout rooms. And this is the breakout room panel. Here you will see how many students you have, how many participants you have, and you can join whichever breakout room you want. So if I want to join here, you join room 1. Another nifty thing about this is that you can move people from one breakout room to another. You can also broadcast a message. Hi, you have 6 minutes left. or you can broadcast your voice as well. And even, you see now we still have 6 minutes, but let's say if 6 minutes you can see that, sorry, the participants are almost done, then you can close rooms. Close rooms, yes. Now I'm going to cancel this for a moment and I'm going to join one of the rooms. Okay. Got it. It's just telling me that the host is monitoring the activity. Now, very importantly, if you want to leave the breakout rooms, make sure that you don't end meeting for all, that you don't leave the meeting, but you want to leave the breakout room. So leave the breakout room. It does take you a couple of minutes. That's why I'm saying you have to minimize that time that you spent entering and leaving. Then, so you have the breakout rooms here. I want to close all rooms, yes, and in 10 seconds, all participants will be back. The last thing that I wanted to show you though was the fact that you don't, if you have your share screen open, so let me just open this. Okay, if you have this open on your computer, you see the menu bar is at the top. You go to more and you have the breakout rooms there. So it's often useful to open the breakout rooms with the screen share still on, because then the students are looking at whatever task they have on the screen rather than at you trying to figure out how to operate the breakout rooms. Another interesting feature is that you can annotate. So you can basically, this transforms into a whiteboard. For example, you can leave. This might also be useful if you're using your PowerPoint presentation as a board. Talking about PowerPoint presentations, I'm going to show you a nifty trick if you're using Microsoft PowerPoint. So I've just opened up a blank PowerPoint presentation. If you don't want the students to see it in draft mode, but you want to see, so I'm just going to like say demo lesson, but you don't want the students to see it like that in editing mode, and you don't want the students to see the slides here. There are two options. You can either use the slideshow option, which turns it into this. The problem here is that you don't have access anymore to your computer menu bar. You only have access to the Zoom menu bar, and that can be a bit strange. I don't necessarily like that very much. But what you can do is you can take it into reading mode. And that way you can see, so for example, you can see the menu bar here. Reading mode is nifty. It has the same functionality as the slide, but it's a little bit, it gives you a little bit more control and more access to the computer menu bar, Zoom menu bar, so that you have a little bit more ability to maneuver and control what you need and basically what the students see on your screen. Once you are in share screen though, something to keep in mind is that in order, so for example, if the students see my PowerPoint, but I want to share, if you select an application, a window, no matter what you do on the computer, your students will only see that particular window. If you share the entire screen, the students see all the activity on the screen. That's very helpful, but the problem is that if you forget to share the new window, the students will only see what you've originally shared. So it's good to move back and forth. Now, when it comes to learning how to use Zoom for teaching purposes, there are basically three things that you need to operate. The chat box, how to share screen, how to share sound, and operating the breakout rooms. These are your three priorities. practice a little bit with that, and you will be confident in teaching online in no time. Thank you very much for watching, and I wish you the best of luck.